friends. Today we are coming up with one more rarely used, lesser common remedy from cotyledons grass remedy group. So guess which is the remedy? You can see it in the background of Dr. Nirupama's window. Yes, it is Bambusa. I invite Dr. Shobha to share her case of Bambusa and then we will derive the understanding of it.
Thank you, Anita. So, friends, today we will learn Bambusa through a case. So, friends, this is a patient who is a 34-year-old female patient. She's married and she's a teacher by profession. She's working in a very well-known school since last 14 years. And she also takes her own tuitions. But since last 5 months, she has quit her job and she's at home only and she's just continuing with her tuitions. So, when I asked her about her complaint, she said she is feeling very tired, very lazy, and her immunity is very low. So, she complains of vitamin B12 and D3 deficiencies, which is happening recurrently. So, because of that, she said, I also fall ill every 2 years. Like even 2 years ago, I had suffered from the dengue. And now also 5 months ago, she suffered from pneumonia. And since then, like she is like almost, she quit the job and she's not doing job. She also complained of allergic eczema. She has dry patches all over her body, which are leaving blackish discoloration with lot of itching. Also, she has body ache, backache, headache, and leg pains. And these complaints she had before a few years. In between, it was fine. But now, again, since 5 months, she is complaining of this. In her family, consists of husband and in-laws, father-in-law, mother-in-law. And all in her family are very supportive. And she does not have any IPR problems. So whatever, like she says that she's a working woman and she works almost from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. But still, her family is very much supporting her. If sometimes she feels like not cooking or she's not well or she feels low and she feels I will not be able to do the housework, the family is supportive and they say it is okay. They can also order the food from outside. So initially, when she came to this family, it was a joint family, big, like, all her brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and their child was also living with them. So otherwise, she was the only child of her parents. So after marriage, she came, that time it was a big family. So initially, she took a little time to adapt, but then she could healthily manage herself very well. She adapted very well by learning by her own self, and she could manage between her job and her home also very well. But still, by her nature, like she is very firm, and if she feels anything is going wrong, she would tell it very firmly, and she will do things only as per her likings. Otherwise, by nature, she is very happy and mixing nature, and she deals with the difficulties very well, and she doesn't get stuck. So, but last 5 months, since she suffered the pneumonia, after that, her nature has completely changed. So what she said ki earlier, what I used to be working from morning till night, now I have no desire to work at all. And now I have no desire to do anything. I feel very tired and I am only on my bed reading book and playing games. Earlier, I used to complete the novel. If I take it in my hand, I will complete it in 3 days. But now reading one page is also too much for me. Also, she has no desire to watch TV, movies, or Netflix, and there is no initiative coming in her from her side. So she said that I don't touch any work. I don't feel like folding my bed sheet or keeping the iron clothes in the cupboards. And I would tell husband, and finally he would do it. I am just sitting there on the bed. Still, I don't feel like doing it. But this was not the case earlier. Earlier, I used to keep everything properly in its place, and I wanted everything properly. So that is how, she was very specific. even about those things. So she would tell her mother-in-law also not to do, and she would do because she wanted things very properly and perfect. But now the things have changed, and now she doesn't feel like talking even to husband. Earlier, she said we used to go on to the holidays also every year, but now I refuse to husband also to go anywhere. And if someone takes away my kitchen, I will be very happy now. That much bored I'm feeling. Earlier, she used to visit her mom's place also like 2 to 3 times in a week. But now she has not gone there also for few months. So now this patient was brought to clinic by her mother because her mother was more worried about her, seeing this changed state in the patient since last 5 months. So the when I asked mother, she said that earlier what I have seen my daughter, she used to be very up to date, demanding clothes, shoes. She's not that girl now. She is completely changed. And so I tell her, ki, okay, let us go to the parlor. I will come with you. Let us go for a shopping. Earlier, she would never say no, but now she is just not ready to come for even for the shoppings. And she has become very cranky also recently. She doesn't. One thing is she comes very rarely to our home also, but when she comes also, like she is not talking freely. She just sits with her mobile onto the bed. So mother is also getting frustrated that then why are you coming here if you don't want to talk and you don't want to do anything. So mother was concerned about her this state. So to understand that okay, what has happened in her life and why this change of the mental state has come. So I tried to inquire about her stresses. So she said ki everything is fine at her on her IPR side, at the family, whether it was the mother's family or it was in-laws family, she had no difficulties into the relationships. But she felt that her career has the career is a little stressful because she feels that there is a stagnancy which has come in her career. Like every completely all 24 by 7 she has work pressure, and the growth in the career is not happening as per her expectations. So I have lots of plans. I make lot of plans, but as of now, there is no implementation. I go into lot of procrastinations, and I want to keep all my work on auto mode, like her father and like my father and husband. So this, I felt very characteristic, and I asked her, "What is this?" What I tried to understand what she means by this auto mode. So what she was saying is that I want financial independence. The way like my father today, if he doesn't go to shop, it is fine. He will be like, at home and he will still survive very well. But I want that type of independence. That like nowadays in the institutions, the 50 years is the date of your retirement, is the age for retirement. So now I also want retirement, but can I sit at home today? Can I afford it today? And somewhere these calculations are not setting, which is making her, worrisome. So she is worried that when will I achieve that goal of mine of, putting my life onto that auto mode and having like that financial independence, just like my father or my husband. So, friends, this is the case. When I tried to understand and analyze this, what I felt is that there is a definite change in the behavior of the patient since last 5 months. She was the only child of her well-to-do parents. She is very happy, otherwise intelligent and an independent girl, and she took charge of her home also very well. She is fastidious and she wanted things in a very perfect way. So she did not allow her mother-in-law, and she took charge of it and she did the home things very nicely before 5 months. But now, also she was like very active and working from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Now this girl has suddenly took break from the school since 5 months. So that was also haunting me that it's 5 months, like now still why are you not joining? And because what she said is because she has become very lazy. She feels very tired, indifferent. There is no initiative, no desire, no masti in life, no life itself, And it is like almost she has come onto the bed. So the first rubric that I thought about in her case was the bed, desire to remain in bed. Also, what she said that her immunity is very low. So the second rubric I thought was delusion, poor he is. And when I tried to understand why of her illness and why of the state, so what was coming is that her expectation was to have a growth in her career, and she is feeling that there is a stagnation. She wanted some financial independence. So now what is coming in the is that she is having the anxiety about the money matters. So the friends, the way we saw when when I repertorized these three rubrics, what came up was Bambusa. And friends, the way we know that Bambusa takes time initially to grow, but once it grows very multifoldedly. Like it is the fastest growing plant. So similarly, our patient also wanted to grow very fast. But with this understanding, also the patient was very strong, and she has a strength in within her own self. That is why she was working from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. And the way bamboo trees are also very sturdy and strong enough. So still what was coming in my mind and what I wanted to see was her indifference, whether this indifference is covered by bambusa or not. So I tried to go into the repertory and checked in the rubrics. So what I saw was, I found these rubrics: that indifference to business affairs, time fritters away his, indifference to everything, indifference to taciturn, indifference to mental exertion, indifference to during exertion, indifference to with the head pain, and aversion to everything. So these rubrics were very much matching into the patient. These are the single remedy rubrics also, that indifference developing after mental exertions. And the way we see in this patient also, she has really exerted a lot in her initial 14 years of her career. And after that, there is a sort of an exhaustion which has come in her life and which has brought this indifference within her own self. Also, when I went through the other rubrics, which were the ennui with laziness, the laziness from sadness, laziness, aversion to her usual housework, which the patient did describe about it, and postponing everything to next day. The way she said she's procrastinating everything. Delusion, as if she's tired, she's born tired. And she used this word of tired, she being tired at least 4 to 5 times during the case taking. And the way the mother was saying, as if there is no life in her own in her daughter. So we also have a rubric, that delusion cut off from the life. Delusion arms are stiff, arms are very stiff. Delusion back is loosened, and the delusion, the back is packed with in the streaks of fog. So friends, what is arm? The arm is something when you need to do any work. If you keep your arm stiff, can you work? Your arm need to have some flexibility when you want to work. If your back is also loosened, how can you stand straight, and how can you have a support of the body? If the back is packed with the fog, meaning what is fog? It gives, like, it is the fog will give rise to the confusion and the no clarity. So that is what this patient also was suffering. So I found that these rubrics were somewhere matching in the patients. And her high, definitely from this, she developed the anxiety about many matters, about anxiety about future, that how will I be able to survive if I do not have the, will I be able to afford if I do not have the money later on, if I'm not onto that auto mode. So this thing brings, the want of confidence. It brings down the confidence of the Bambusa patient, and they feel, want of confidence about realizing her plan. She had many plans, but it was getting very difficulty for her to, implement those plans. And they start feeling themselves a failure. They start feeling that, delusion, that he does everything, but he cannot succeed. And finally, this state of mind brings the Bambusa patient into the despair. They start feeling that they go into the despair, feeling that they want to be supported at this moment of time. So with this, the patient was given Bambusa. I started with 30. Because of her skin complaint, I was a little bit cautious, and that is why I started with 30 single dose. So first time I had given her 3 doses at the interval of 10 minutes. After that, so 30 was given very infrequently, say once in a month or so. And with that, what had happened is in the first follow-up itself, she told me that she was back to her routine and she was running here and there within the first 1 month of the treatment itself. And her headache, body ache, and backache was also much better. But her skin had little fluctuations in the patches, in the itching, and it improved gradually. So that time, then I went to Bambusa 200. But recently, and later on, I went on to the Bambusa 1M. But 1M that I had given her once, after that she has not come only. And recently again I took her follow up. I tried to call her and ask her before our presentation that how are you feeling now? And she's then what is the change? And she said she's really doing very well. Her work is flourishing. She's very happy. In between, she had the difficulty of her sleep also, which was getting delayed and disturbed. But now she's getting very sound sleep also, and her she has stopped procrastinations also. So friend, this was one case of Bambusa that I shared. Now let us learn Bambusa from one more case that Dr. Anita Bajaj will share. Yes, Anita,
Yeah.
will you please share your case?
Yes.
Yeah, Anita.
So, friends, this remedy, like any remedy, can have different forms, and but some core symptoms remain the same. So, in this case, also you see the set of symptoms which Shobha described as laziness, ennui, boredom, bad desire to remain in, indifference, weakness. So we will see in this case also that group of symptoms remains the same, but the life space is different. The case is different, and we can add little more dimension to the understanding of Bambusa. So this patient came with allergic rhinitis, and Bambusa is the only remedy given in dullness with coryza. So Bambusa is a very good remedy which has lot of allergic rhinitis with lot of weakness, where they don't feel like doing anything and they go into this weakness and indifference. So this particular case was a typical Bambusa form. She came with complaint of allergic rhinitis, recurrent cold, nose block with feverish feeling, chilliness, weakness, tiredness. During cold, she has laziness, aversion to work, feels like lying down. She becomes irritable due to cold, keeps pushing her work to next day. Now, allergic rhinitis is generally worse every morning. So if you keep pushing your work to next day, again the same thing happens because patient has sneezing and running nose and everything in the morning, like for some part of the day, and then that weakness continues and the work starts, becoming pending. There is a lot of pending work. And she used to get allergic cold after starting this, uh, they used to grind grind wheat in the ghar ka chakki only, in the grinding mill. So a lot of, flour used to fly. And from that, she used to get a lot of sneezing and running nose and everything used to happen. So almost every time she would suffer from cold. So because of this recurrent cold, she feels quite unmotivated, dull, bored. She has lot of things in her mind of going to Pathshala. She's a Jain lady, middle-aged Jain lady. So she feels like going to Pathshala for religious studies, starting Mehndi classes because she herself has learned Mehndi. Then she feels like doing something, learning something, but then she doesn't have strength. So her husband also tells her, if you have cold and you are not able to cope up with regular work also, then why are you, taking more burden? So here the husband is demotivating her. Patient gives in because the husband says that you're not able to cope up, and she realizes that she is not able to cope up. So she gives in, but feels bad looking at her mother and brother. Her mother and brother are both active. Even like her mother at this age, she must be definitely older than her. So at old age also, she is very active. Her mother can do much more than patient at this age. Patient's bhabhi is also like Leia. She doesn't do much work, but mother is very active and she does everything. She does religious activities. She also helps patient by making pickles, masala for her. Like Gujarati people can identify how mothers help daughters for all these things, for storing masalas for the whole year, for making pickles and papad and all that. So mother does that for patient because patient herself is not able to cope up. Mother and brother try to push her also to do something. You also start something, no? Why are you sitting at home? Children are grown up. You do something. But still, like, she doesn't feel that motivated. Before her marriage, she used to take tuitions. She learnt mehndi. She used to do other craft activities. She was good at studies. She did home science. So she knows a lot of, things which she can make at home. She likes to recycle things, makes best out of waste. But now she feels like for that also you need material. Why waste time on that? I will bring everything and then I will not do anything. So everything will be, just lying. So her husband has limited income. And from 6 years, they are staying in a rental place because their house is being redeveloped. But a lot of, cases are going on. So that redevelopment is also getting delayed. So, they have to pay extra rent, whatever the builder case. On top of that, they have to pay some amount from their pocket. So it is becoming difficult for them to manage. From last 6 years, they have been spending at least 4 to 5 thousand per month for the rent. So financial anxiety is there. Patients keeps worrying about that, they need additional income. She can do something. But then she says, मैं ढीली पड़ जाती हूँ. Like she doesn't have strength, or she doesn't have, she feels discouraged. She doesn't feel like, doing everything. I need someone to push me. Like her mother and brother used to push her before marriage for doing all these things. So she needs that. I need a push. But my husband himself is Deela. Like he has also stuck to one stage only from long time. His income has remained steady only. He works in diamond assortment. So he also remains at one stage, and he demotivates me also that if you're not able to cope up, leave it. Why are you thinking about it? Just manage the household. That is enough. So both of them are like that. So she becomes chal chhod, jaise chal raha hai chalne do. It's okay. Let the things be as they are. So this is like, they are in the comfort zone, bed desire to remain in, like the earlier patient Shobha also described. But still, this feeling of not doing anything makes her restless. She is all that way submissive. Her mother-in-law was conservative and did not allow her to wear dress. She would wear sari in Gujarati style, and that to cover her head. So she never, opposed to it. But her sister-in-laws, like nanads, who are much more elder to her, they convinced her mother-in-law to allow her to wear dress or sari in a normal way, not in Gujarati style. She doesn't take any initiative. So she is a type of lady who remains in that state only. So now all those rubrics which Shobha has already elaborated, I am not taking those rubrics. Apart from that, other rubrics which are there in this particular case, like earlier case, she was very confident and hardworking and doing things in beginning, and then she went into this tiredness and ennui and all that because she was stagnant. This lady has been still stagnant only. She was active earlier, sorry. She was before marriage, she was also active. But after marriage, because of household work and because of these recurrent cold and all that, she has gone into that uh, comfort zone type of thing, bed desire to remain in. So we see here confidence, want of self, inadequate feels. She says, I need a push. Somebody has to push me, then I will do it. Contemptuous oneself of. She is not liking it that way. So she is not liking herself for doing this, having this inertia, or, uh, going into so much of indolence. Then deeds desire to perform. There is a desire to perform deed. Deed is something more, more than work. Normal, usual work, they want to do something extra. So deeds desire to perform useful, which will be of use to their family at least, It can be of use to the society at large also, but at least for their own, income. So she has this desire, but then despair support desires. She wants someone to push her. So that is how, despair support desire. If somebody doesn't support me, I give up. Despair is like giving up, becoming negative, hopeless. She is hopeless about herself and nobody is there to push her. That is why she says, if my husband is Deela, I also become Deela. And then I say, छोड़ ना जाने दे, जैसा चल रहा है चलने दो. She is doubtful about realizing her plans. She is discontented with herself. She feels she cannot handle things anymore. She is overwhelmed by stress. There is a specific rubric of overwhelmed by stress in housewives. Then meaningless she feels. She pities herself that I am not able to do anything. Time fritters away. Restlessness, nervousness, internal indecision to do something. So this indecision is making her restless and anxious. Internal restlessness is there. Nervousness is there. This is single remedy rubric of Bambusa. Then they are rooted. Rooted means they are orthodox, like whatever their mother-in-law said, they will follow it. So they are rooted people. Rooted people also are grounded. So they have this firm footing, like Shobha's case also, she was very firm. So they are rooted. They have strong roots of traditions, of knowledge, of education, of whatever, everything. Then there is one rubric which is very interesting, is of confusion of mind. Writing while especially with left hand when she writes with right hand. So normal course person is writing with right hand. So when you are writing with left hand, you are making some change. So that change from right to left becomes difficult for them. They go into confusion and they cannot do it. So even there is one more rubric, left and right sides are not the same. So you also get symptoms like change desire in one's life, and left and right side are not the same. So if for making any change, they have to change their disposition from left-sided or left-handed to right-handed. So right-handed is more logical, more reasonable, reasoning power is more, and left-sided is more artistic, abstract. So they can't take both these things along. So if they have to shift from right to left, they find it very difficult. So this is the case and understanding of Bambusa in my case. Now I will invite Dr. Kushala to speak more about Bambusa Materia Medica and other understanding, PEM understanding. Yes, Kushala.
Yeah, thank you, Anita. Yes, so friends, we have got the understanding of two cases. Now let's understand the Materia Medica of Bambusa. As we know, it's from the Poaceae family. It's a monocot. So their habitat is native to Asia. And this giant grass, it can reach to 8 meters in height. It's the tallest among the Poaceae family. And they grow very fast and they maintain, even when they start growing also, they grow with a certain diameter and they reach to a certain height. And once they reach that height, they bend a little. So what is it that they are born to support themselves? And their branches are exceptionally strong and flexible. And hence it's used in building materials. You'll see bamboos, whenever there is a construction work, repair work of buildings going on, you'll see bamboos tied over. So it represents flexibility, resilience, and perseverance. So what is one of the main themes of Bambusa is they're very over-responsible. There is too much of caring for the family. It's to do with self, that I am self-responsible for the caring of the family. So they carry the burden and they do it for a long time without asking help. So the other person will think that, they're strong enough and they don't need help. And they do this without complaining. But at the end, what happens is they are depleting their resources and ultimately they crash down. And that's when they feel very forsaken, very alone. They lose their confidence. And at this point, they feel they need support desperately. So this state then comes up with a lot of irritability towards children, lot of anxieties, and a lot of backache issues will come because of this over responsibility. So the feeling of no support, and then they feel that, they'll fail, they'll not succeed in what they do. They feel so disappointed. There is weakness. They crash and they break down, but they try to bounce back. The second theme is post-delivery. It's used in a lot of feminine problems. Post-delivery also, the mother has to nurture the child, look after the family, and then she's giving more than she can. So in the end, she becomes so exhausted and broken down. And because she's not getting the support she needs in looking after the child and the family, the end result is that she has given so much that she has depleted her strength, and now she feels that she herself needs to be carried or looked after by somebody. You will see symptoms like excessive menstruation while breastfeeding, which is, talking about that, the body is rejecting this overgiving. It's not accepting this overgiving. So you will find symptoms like menstruation while breastfeeding. You'll find congested ovaries and atrophy of sexual organs in the male because the feminine is so predominant. There's hormonal balance and postnatal depression. Water element being very prominent in POELs, there is cystitis. There's a strong urge to urinate. They can't hold it, as well as a lot of hay fever, runny nose, runny eyes, allergic symptoms. They have voracious appetite, or there is lack of appetite. And you will see various types of severe backaches and neck pain because they have taken so much over their shoulders that you will see that they will have cervical problems, lumbar problems, ankylosing spondylitis, sacral region issues. The end result, towards the end, they feel that they have stretched their skin so much and the skin has become so thin. They have a feeling of great inadequacy that they can't cope up with the life's demand. So there's where they will see anxiety of future, anxiety money matters. It's as if now they are born tired, as if they're tired, they're exhausted with all this industry. You'll see a lot of mother-child attachment issues. It can come in children when there is early separation from the mother, or when the mother is ill, or after her delivery, she has to return to work early, or there's a premature birth. So in children, you will not see issues like how we see about the over-responsibility and backaches, but children will come up with symptoms like allergic symptoms, hay fever, sleep problems, sleeplessness, forsaken, and a lot of clinging you will see in children. So now I invite Dr. Nirupama to give the evolutionary model of Bambusa.
Yeah, thank you, Kushala. So, as you all know, Bambusa belongs to monocotyledons, where they talk a lot about themselves and what they talk about their work, about their family, about their nutrition, about their emotions. Yeah. And you distinctly see two types. One side, monocotyledon being child, you see a lot of childlike symptoms. And other side, you see the mature adult to old age symptom. Like when they break down, you see a lot of old age issues. Like your patient was continuously lying down, not getting up from the bed, felt exhausted, tired. And what very important, what she said, I want to go in auto mode. Means money should keep coming regularly and I can manage without working. So this is very important. This speaks about the old age symptom where things are all set. For that, you have worked hard. So you see the industrious place, like cancer miasm is very predominant in Bambusa. So one side you see a very over responsible person, and then it goes into the exhaustion. So you see the tight control of cancer. And being it's in a fourth subclass, it is overdoing, over nurturing. So issues basically we see about the food, emotions, money, stability. Hmm. Typically, both the cases spoke about the money and stability. Hmm. And Shobha's case showed a lot about the emotional difficulties, while Anita's case showed the allergic issues. Hmm. And in both the cases, we see the control issues. Typically, two polarities, extreme ambitious, industrious personality going into extreme exhaustion, laziness, lethargy, not coming out of the bed. And what can trigger the illnesses? The feminine part, like anything related to menses, pregnancy, especially we see post-delivery. Postpartum depression is common in this remedy and the joint issues. Most of the things are taken by other speakers, but what I wanted to add was the cancer miasm in this and the two distinct polarities of the bambusa. Now I invite Dr. Aditi. She will take DDs of closely coming remedies.
Thank you, Nirupama. And while listening to both the cases, we see that certain remedies are coming very close to Bambusa, and they are sepia, phosphoric acid, and kali phos. Now we will differentiate how these remedies are though same, how similar, how they are differentiated, and how we can prescribe correctly in each case. Now, if first we take sepia, sepia is basically an animal remedy. So there are underlying causes of you versus me will be there in the narration of the patient, which was missing in both the cases, what we heard. And it is one of the most evolved mollusk in the cephalopod group. Now, this is sepia basically is very independent, very multitasking because it is very evolved. And it is dancing continuously for family and children. And she is into cares and worries. And then doing this continuously dancing, and one side she is dancing for the family, one side she is independent. So what happens is she keeps on doing, and then she feels tired and exhausted, because what happens, there are a lot of dominations, because she herself cannot be dominated. She is a very evolved mollusk, and yet she has to face the domination, and that becomes an ailment in case of sepia. So it is, domination is a very big ailment. Then fright, grief, neglected feeling. She's dancing constantly and she's neglected by the family. That is affected in sepia. Scorned, rejected. So, and basically her behavior is very mannish because she is very evolved type of a remedy. So, and these are the causes which brings ailments in sepia. And she goes in the very depressed state, and she to the level indifference and depressed to the level she feels alone in the grave. She goes in that kind of severe indifference and depression. But if we see Bambusa, as Anita explained, there is contemptuousness. Whereas in sepia, there is abusiveness towards mother. And to that an extent, they develop a kind of contempt. So this is about sepia. Now, if we go to the next remedy, that is phosphoric acid. Now, phosphoric acid is an acid. So basically, lot of weakness we see in the acids. We generally have learned in our materia medicas that acid group is an extreme weakness prescription. Now, how acid falls sick? Acid falls is into ailments from the grief and death of loved ones, cares, worries. There is lot of grief because there is a phosphorus element, there is love and everything. And it dances unconsciously. Phosphoric acid also keeps doing out of love, out of emotions, because phosphorus is in a very initial rows of the periodic table. Then there is a disappointment, and that disappointment so much settles in the mind, and from there the mind goes weak, and the mind then leads to the physical weakness. So phosphoric acid is a mental exhaustion leading to the physical exhaustion. because of dancing unconsciously and grief. Now, if we go to the third remedy, that is Kali phos. Now, Kali phos has two elements in it, Kali and phosphorus. Now, Kali, because of the Kali element in this remedy, there will be lot of anxiety and irritability and very nervousness. They get frightened easily, very sad. There is lot of lot of worries and cares for the future and health. And there are night terrors. Now, when Kali phos falls sick, it is overstudy, overwork in the business. It is overwork in the business. It is a remedy for worn out businessmen. So there should be a transacting business in Kali, because Kali has always anxiety for home and roti kapda and makan. So when that is, and they put their total energy into that. So that business is and overwork, and then they fall sick. They are worn out, tired, prostration, exhausted. And Kali phos has lot of effect on nervous system. So we see lot of neurasthenia, loss of mental vigor, then brain fag, then pain with the sensation up to the paralysis, hypochondriasis, and brain fag, and insomnia. We prescribe very commonly even this remedy for insomnia. But just on insomnia, if we prescribe, we don't get result. But if we see the background of Kali phos and then prescribe, it really gives us wonderful results. Okay, and to the level she feels that she has seemed away her grace. That much depression, nervousness she goes into. So this is the brief DD of these close coming remedies. And with this, we are ending our today's presentation. Friends, do watch our videos, like, share, and subscribe, and give us your responses so we can do better in future. Thank you all.